When the 2016 AMA Pro ATV Motocross Championship kicked off at the famous Daytona International Speedway, you knew that the top riders would be all out for victory, and they left it all out on the track, including a big crash from Joel HETRICK, big passes from Jeffrey RASTRELLI, and bumping and banging action throughout the top five. But when it was all said and done, defending champion Chad Wienen finally nailed down the victory at Daytona, serving notice he is still the one to beat this season. From Underground Motocross Park in Kemp, Texas, ATV Motocross is next.
Deep in the heart of Texas, round two of the 2016 Pro X ATV National Motocross Championship, sanctioned by AMA Pro Racing and presented by CST Tires. Riders of all ages out here. We'll have amateur and youth divisions competing along with, of course, our pro riders, which we will focus on today. Awesome to have the little kids out here racing with us. They were not part of the ATV Supercross program at our series opener in Daytona. The pro riders, though, were, a lot of them happy about their performances there, a lot of them looking for more today. And this track, always a favorite with the riders. Good to see it as a points-paying round of the series now after some great one-off events. Hey, old Corey Ellis there giving David Hogsma some advice. Hogsma new to full-time motocross, but was strong at Daytona. So a whole bunch of names lined up. There's the Iron Man, John NATALIE. They're all focused on Chad Wienen, who won in Daytona and, of course, has the #1 plate as defending champ.
Coming off the win at Daytona, man, it was a great race. I was able to make quick moves and just stay clean and not have to deal with the bumping and grinding going on out there, it seemed like, behind me, and was able to run a clean race. And we've had a good month off from our last race, so we're here in Texas, and my plan is just to go out there and get a great start, just like we did in the first round of the racing. And the track is really rough today, so it's going to be one of those things where you just pick your moves where you need to, and kind of let the other guys kind of make the mistakes, and just try and outlast them with our longer motos this year. And really excited about it, and we're gonna try and put this Yamaha back on the top of the box.
Well, Chad is excited, but he's won a lot of races and titles the last few years. Podium finishes are still relatively new to Jeff RASTRELLI, who was so pumped to get on the box at Daytona and do it in front of home state fans.
Coming here at Underground MX, I think I'm looking for a win. I was just a hair off at Daytona, and I want to take it to the next level. I've never got a pro win, so we're looking to come here and click off some moto wins, hopefully, and make some moves quick in the motos and get out front, and hopefully just check out or just be able to stay out front from the beginning of the race till the end and make it easy on myself. And instead of at Daytona, I made a mistake, had to catch the pack, made a mistake, and then had to catch back up and then pass everybody. So trying to make it a little easier on myself this weekend and see what we can do.
All right, another rider to watch today right there in the center of the screen, the very proud Texan, Thomas Brown, who would love to take the win out here. We'll talk to him and get to highlight some qualifying next.
ATV Motocross brought to you in part by Pro X Racing Parts, Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com. Get ready. AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. And by CST Tires, where passion meets the ground.
All right, we're at Underground Motocross in Kemp, Texas. So a lot of pressure on Thomas Brown, the Texas native, to try to deliver a victory in front of his home fans.
We're here in the great state of Texas, hometown. Well, not hometown, but home state. I'm only an hour and a half from here, so we should have a lot of friends and family coming in, and it should be a great weekend. I've been here a few times. This is one of the best tracks in the country, I feel, but definitely the best track in Texas. But, I'm looking for that win still. I want to leave here with more points, maybe a red plate, but just keep moving forward. I don't want to throw it away early in the season. Just keep working towards that championship. We got to keep Chad in check and not let him get too far out front. He likes to get a little gap and then run comfortable. So when you take that away from him, maybe get a few moto wins in and see if we can do some damage.
Okay, Thomas Brown, no pressure on him indeed. In fact, he's looking to put the pressure on others. And it will start with qualifying, so we'll determine gate picks. So we're going to see the fastest riders in the ATV motocross game uncork it here at the Texas National. It's the 88 of Joel HETRICK coming back from an injury. More on that in a bit. There's the #1 of WIENEN, who rides for Yamaha, WIENEN Motorsports, SSI Decals, Walsh Racecraft. Fly Racing. And Maxis, speaking of Fly, look at these guys air it out over this huge triple. There's Thomas Brown on the 84 in action. Here's the lucky 13, the Ironman, John NATALIE. Was up front in Daytona, did not get the win there this year like he did last year, so he's out for vengeance today. 422, David Hogsma. Raced the series part-time last year, showed great speed. He is in full-time this year. Watch out for him. And Nick Janusa out of New Jersey, last year's Rookie of the Year, could be a contender today. Veteran rider and veteran colors, the old 4Tracks 250R look for Josh Upperman on the number 20. And here's Joel Hetrick on the 88. Crashed out of Daytona, hurt his knee, back today and looking very fast. 665, that's Ronnie Higgerson. 77 is Nick Moser. And another one of these retro Hondas, 38 of Sam Rowe. Love what Root River did to make those look like the famous 1986 Hondas. Silas Lamons on the Suzuki there going by. We'll throw a few other names at you. Brett Music and Sean Taylor. Here he is on the 39. And Joe Bird, former series champ in the farewell season for the nice guy out of Tennessee. Johnny Hale, 16, and Nicholas Cavagliasso, the 68, coming by this track. Does it look fun to ride or what? Look at this soil as well. And look at this time. Hetrick, who wasn't even sure of his condition today due to the knee injury, comes out and takes the Fast Qualifier award here at the Texas National. So apparently the 88 is feeling good enough. Could he pull off an upset win today despite the injury?
Yeah, I went out in the first qualifier and ended up getting the top qualifier. I think I got about like 0.2 of a second over Chad. It's a pretty tough track today. It's getting really rough out there. The track's super soft. I think they watered it so much. It's going to be a tough 20 minutes each moto. So I think I'll be okay. I'm about 75%. So I just got to put some solid laps down and be safe and come out of here with hopefully a podium.
Yeah, Hetrick needs those top 3 points today. Was a big contender in the preseason for Wienen's title. We'll see if he can beat him after this.
ATV Motocross brought to you in part by Pro X Racing Parts, Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com. Get ready. AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. And by CST Tires, where passion meets the ground.
Yeah, boys. John NATALIE and Joel Hetrick getting ready for Pro X Moto number 1 here at the Texas National. It's ATV Motocross. I'm your host, Jason Wygant. Mechanics about to clear the line. A very sandy racetrack today, by the way, so what you see on lap 1 of this moto, it'll look a lot different as every lap reels off. Rocky Mountain ATVMC on board with Josh Upperman. Here we go. Bad news, boys. The champ's got the whole shot. Chad Wienen around the outside, but he gets edged out. I think John NATALIE trying to take it back from him. Here's Upperman in about 5th. Yeah, the Ironman of the 13 into the lead. This track is already quite bumpy after qualifying, and some motos for our amateur riders. Here's the big triple. Practically a quad for these guys on quads, but NATALIE in the lead. Right on the Baldwin Motorsports machine. He's got Wienen right behind him. Hogsma and Hetrick. Rastrelli's got a Rocky Mountain on board as well. He's trying to get around the other rider with the onboard and looking right at him. That's the 20 of Upperman. Let's see what NATALIE can do. He led early on at Daytona. Wienen was able to make quick work of him, and that's rare. NATALIE knows how to ride a wide machine. Upperman still under pressure from Rastrelli, and Rastrelli makes the move. Oh, a little bobble by NATALIE into that corner, but look, he's actually distancing himself from Wienen a bit, and this could be why. Listen to that roost. That stuff hurts. I think the champ might be trying to stay out of the roost zone. Battle between Hogsma and Hetrick, 3rd and 4th. I think Hetrick just made the move. But how about Hogsma, man? He can run the pace with these guys. Coming over from the Work Series, which is an off-road tour. Certainly not afraid to go fast. They go really fast. Those are more desert-type races. As we focus back in on our leaders, NATALIE has the point position. Wienen actually credited with the SSI Decals HOLESHOT Award, and he's trying it inside line. Nearly side by side over that big jump. Back on board with Rastrelli, who's right in the hunt. Look, that's Thomas Brown now ahead of him. What a pack up front here. You got HETRICK in third, right behind WIENEN. Go all the way back to Rastrelli, who's about fifth right now, and they are close. You can see that lead pack up ahead. Down to the inside goes WIENEN, and he's got the spot from NATALIE. NATALIE gonna try to dance back to the inside. Oh, they almost come together. And look at HETRICK. The door was open thanks to the pass by WIENEN, and I thought HETRICK was going to take advantage, but no. NATALIE's still right in front of him. NATALIE with a look over his shoulder, sees the kid back there. Oh, HETRICK crosses him up. Nice job. Rastrelli and Hogsma battling right behind them. HETRICK still not able to pull off that pass. And we'll see how long HETRICK can hold on, nursing that knee injury from the big crash at Daytona. He did grab that ATVRiders.com Fast Qualifier Award you saw earlier in the show, but the speed for one lap in practice and speed through a long, rough moto like this, that's two totally different things. Plus, you have riders like Rastrelli bearing down on him from behind. Great racing today early from Underground MX. WIENEN trying to get away, but this pack is saying, not today, champ. Look, HETRICK is up to the number 2 position and keeping the heat on.
ATV Motocross brought to you in part by Pro X Racing Parts, Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com. Get ready. AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. And by CST Tires, where passion meets the ground.
Boom, big airtime for Chad WIENEN, and right behind him, Joel HETRICK. It's the battle we wanted to see. HETRICK lightning fast last year and at one point wrestled the points lead from WIENEN. A couple of inconsistent motos. Put WIENEN back in control. Oh, the championship, Rastrelli goes by a stopped John NATALIE. He stalled it in that corner. He's got it back running, so not a mechanical failure, but enough for Rastrelli to move up into third. Yeah, NATALIE back underway. He's on the right side of your screen. Thomas Brown right with him. So Rastrelli showing the top 3 podium finish at Daytona. No fluke. WIENEN now starting to pull away a bit from HETRICK. As I was talking, HETRICK's speed last year was right there with him. Oh, and a mistake from Rastrelli. Thomas Brown going to get around him. It's the hang time on that jump. They're up there forever. Oh, this one's not over. Rastrelli trying to come back on Brown. Oh, such great racing between these two. And Rastrelli wrestles it back. You can tell this dude is confident. Oh, but a little mistake. Got high in that berm again. Made that mistake a few times in this moto. All the work he did to repass Brown, and he gives the spot right back. Meanwhile, big, tall Chad WIENEN, as this track gets rougher, he only gets faster. He is distancing himself from HETRICK. So our focus goes back to this battle. Whoa! NATALIE is back to get around Rastrelli. So last 2 laps have not been what Rastrelli wanted. He goes from 3rd to 5th. 2 laps to go now for your leader, Chad WIENEN. Calls Galena, Illinois home, but he has a track that he owns in Florida now, so these sandy conditions certainly familiar with him. Oh, this battle keeps on raging. David Hogsma now all over Rastrelli to try to take 5th away. He just saw Brown and NATALIE go by. Then there's that Rastrelli-Hogsma battle. And Chad WIENEN is gone, folks. Wide open WIENEN. You give him a big section of whoops like this, there's no one in the world that can go faster through there. 1 lap to go. Looks like it's survival mode for the ailing Joel HETRICK. But he said the goal today was to just finish on the podium, 2nd place here in Moto 1. It's right where he wants to be. We will have a 2nd moto coming up right after this. Checkers coming out. Chad WIENEN had to get around John NATALIE, had to hold off Joel HETRICK. This guy is aces. He wins Moto number 1. And we'll give you an idea of the gap here. Gutsy ride, though, for HETRICK with the injury. And Thomas Brown makes Texas happy with that 3rd place finish. And we're ready to re-rack him in Moto 2, and something has changed dramatically. The weather. Yeah, see all the tape, the jacket, the towels. All this is because it's mud prep time for Pro X Moto number 2. We'll see how long the Rocky Mountain ATVMC helmet cam can stay clean on these guys. We're ready to roll in the mud. Start's so critical. Yep, see all the water and roost these guys are going to take on immediately if you're not up front. And for the second moto in a row, it's Chad Wienen with the SSI Decals HOLESHOT Award. You don't normally see this kind of start prowess from the champ, but you need it on a rainy, muddy day like this. Looks over to make sure he's got room to cover NATALIE, and NATALIE is attacking him. I think it's Brown on the Yamaha up to third. They're pulling tear-offs over this big jump. And if the leader is pulling tear-offs, you can imagine what NATALIE is dealing with in the roost zone right behind him. Unbelievable, they're still jumping this stuff. Track has to be like ice in spots. And look at the difference. Look how clean Wienen is. Look how muddy. NATALIE is in second. I think that's why NATALIE went for it, those second and third corners. You just got to be desperate when you're in second. If you can make that quick pass like he did in Moto 1, then he's eating the mud. Wasn't able to do it, though. Ronnie Higgerson with a good start. Ahead of HETRICK here, who's got the white gear. And I think that's Rastrelli taking off roost behind him. Now, Wienen's starting to pull away. So the focus goes to this group, and it's going to be a slugfest for the podium. NATALIE in second, fourth in the first moto. HETRICK, second in moto number 1, is running fifth right now. Track is held up nicely. Wienen not quite able to get over the landing of that jump, but close enough. And pulling roll-offs in every corner. And again, he's the leader. He has the least amount of vision problems. You can imagine what the rest of these guys are dealing with. NATALIE backed by Max's Fly Racing and Baldwin Racing. Here's Higgerson still holding tough. In fact, what happened to Thomas Brown? So the home track favorite gonna have to go back to work. Must have made a mistake. And it's not easy to do in these muddy conditions to make up that kind of ground. That's what Joel Hetrick's trying to do, and he finally busts through against Higgerson. Stay with us.
ATV Motocross brought to you in part by Pro X Racing Parts, Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com. Get ready. AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. And by CST Tires, where passion meets the ground.
Battle is on, and it continues for third now. Ronnie Higgerson and Joel Hetrick going back and forth. Chad Wienen getting away. You're watching the Pro X ATV Motocross Championship from Underground Motocross Park in Texas. But unfortunately today, it is not literally underground. No roof over our heads, and that means the rain has saturated this track. It has not slowed Chad Wienen one bit, and it just means that Higgerson and Hetrick, who are having this big battle, they're just roosting each other with mud even worse. Sandwiched between Wienen here, and that battle for third is John NATALIE in second. Savage Motorsports backing Higgerson, and what a ride he's putting in, now actually extending it a bit over Hetrick. So nice ride by him. Wienen, best ride of all. He's gotten away, can ride standing up, saving energy, and just on complete cruise control now. Let's not start talking perfect season yet, but he's looking at 2 overall wins to start the year. I see a little lightning, I thought, in the distance. This thing could be over quickly, and Hetrick might be aware of that. He goes right after Higgerson to get third place back. That might keep him on the overall podium for the day. Probably going to be second ahead of NATALIE now. And as they say in racing, a good points day for NATALIE and for Hetrick. They'll be back to fight Wienen another day. Last lap now. It is a mercy lap, I think, for everyone. Get them out of this rain and mud. We're going to go the full distance, though. These guys are just as tough as they come. So Chad Wienen starting off the year as best as he possibly could. got 2 big hole shots today, and that makes a huge difference. Didn't have to work his way through the mud with other riders in front of him. Instead, he wins wire to wire in moto number 2. And there is your overall. Yes, NATALIE and HETRICK there as well.
All right, great day here at Underground MX. 2 hole shots, 2 moto wins, and with the overall. So just the day with the rain coming down second moto is so important to get those positions right out of the gate and getting that hole shot, and just riding that smooth, calculated race, and trying not to override the machine where you're making mistakes and maybe get high side on a berm. It was really easy to do that. The mud actually got really loose and on top of that hard packed in some spots, so it was pretty skatey and loose, and Max's tires hooked up great, and awesome weekend and getting max points. So we're looking forward to heading to Tennessee next, so we'll see you there.
Came into the weekend with 2 partially tore ligaments and about 75%. I knew I could ride a fast pace, but I didn't know how long. So just got a little winded the first moto, and the second moto I just held back and knew I was in second overall and just raced my race. Had to throw the goggles off, so I couldn't really make any moves after that. But I feel like I ended up in a good position, and heading to Muddy Creek, I've won there last year, 2 1-1s, and I think I've had really good finishes there. So I'm excited.
All in all, I do pretty well at the mud riding, and I was kind of happy. I come out second behind Chad. I made a run at him a couple of times. Just couldn't quite get myself around him, and he threw a lot of mud on me, so I decided to back off and just settle for second. And I figured if anybody was back there in third, they had to deal with the same thing I was from Chad. So came away with third overall for the weekend, but with a fourth and a second. Pro pays by point, per moto, and hopefully I think we're going to be pretty darn close to second in points.
All right, good job by our top 3 today. Here's our AMSOIL race recap. NATALIE actually looked to have the whole shot in Moto 1, but WIENEN stole it away from him. They went at it pretty good on the first couple of laps. WIENEN started to get away, then NATALIE makes a mistake, stalls it. We'll go back to 5th, start making some passes. Thomas Brown able to move his way up into a podium position. And the race win goes to Chad WIENEN. Totally different conditions in Moto 2. Yeah, you can't run 4 motos to start the year in ATV motocross without one of them being a mudder. It just seems like a constant here. Big battle, HIGGERSON and HETRICK for 3rd. WIENEN would take the win over NATALIE. He's 2 for 2 to start this year off. We'll see if these boys can step it up and take it to him in our next race from Muddy Creek. Thanks for watching.